Hello everyone, myself Prashant Badil. Today we will see a new point of subject operating system. Today we can see here a number of points. First one is the IO device, second device controller, the next one is the DMA, next point is working of DMA goals, next one is the goals of interrupt handler, next point is device driver, the next one is the secondary storage structure, and the last one is the disk scheduling algorithm. First we will see IO device. An IO device, an input-output device, is any hardware used by a human operator or other system to communicate with a computer. As the name suggests, input-output devices are capable of sending data to a computer and receiving from a computer. The three major jobs of computers are input. The first one is the input, second output, and third one is the processing. In a lot of cases, the most important job in input, output, and the processing is simply identical. For example, when you browse a web page or edit any file, our immediate attention is to read or enter some information, not the computing an answer. Actually, the primary role of operating system in computer input-output is to manage and organize I/O operations and all I/O devices. In this point, you will learn about various uses of input-output devices connecting the operating system. The controlling of various devices that are connected to the computer is a key concern in the operating system designers. This is because I/O devices vary so widely in their functionality and speed. For example, the mouse, for example, the hard disk, for example, CD-ROM. The speed will be varied. Methods are required for controlling them. These methods from the I/O subsystem of the kernel of OS that separates the rest of kernel from the complication of manage input-output devices. Then we will see a next point. The next point will be a device controller. A device controller is a system that handles the incoming and outgoing signals of CPU. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. A device is connected to the computer via plug and socket, and the socket is connected to a device controller. Actually, device controller is used binary and digital codes, and IO device contains mechanical and electrical parts. Means that the device controller receives the data from a connected device and stores it temporarily in some special purpose registers, which is called as local buffer, inside the controller. Then it communicates the data with a device driver. For each device controller there is an equivalent device driver, which is the standard interface through which the device controller communicates with the operating systems through interprets. Device controller is a hardware, whereas a device driver is a software. The controller's job is to convert a serial bit stream to block of bytes and perform any error correction necessary. Each device controller is a charge of a specific type of device, which is called as drivers, disk drivers, audio drivers, and video drivers, etc. Each device controller has a local buffer. Actually, a device controller is a hardware unit that is attached with input and output bus of the computer and provides a hardware interface between a computer and input-output devices. On one side, it knows how to communicate the input and output devices, and other side it knows how to communicate with the computer system through input-output bus. A device controller usually can control several input-output devices. The controller is a one card, which is called as LAN card, or which is called as USB card. For example, USB card. The device driver plays an important role in order to operate these particular devices. It's just like a bridge between device and operating system. Then we will see next point. The next point is DMA. DMA hardware passes CPU to transfer the data directly between I/O devices and memory. Actually, DMA stands for Direct Access Memory. Module itself controls exchange of data between main memory and I/O devices. So here CPU is only involved at the beginning and end of the transfer and interrupted only after entire block has been transferred rather than a byte at a time. The next point is that direct memory access controller, which is called as a DMA controller. A DMA controller manages the data transfer and arbitrary access to the system bus. It contains several registers that can be written and read by the CPU. This includes a memory address register, a byte count register, and one or more control registers. Now we can see here the working of DMA, Direct Access Memory. In this figure contains CPU hardware is there, one DMA is there, DMA Direct Memory Access Controller is there, another one disk controller is there, and main memory is there. Now here first CPU program the DMA controller by setting its register to it knows what to transfer where. DMA controller issues a command to the disk controller telling it to read data from the disk into its internal buffer and verify the checksums. When valid data are in the disk controller's buffer, DMA can begin. So DMA controller initiates, now see in the figure, DMA controller initiates the transfer by issuing a read request over the bus to the disk controller. The write to memory is another standard bus cycle. When write is complete, the disk controller sends an acknowledgement signal to the DMA controller, also over the bus. The DMA controller then increments the memory address to use and decrements byte count if byte count is still greater than 0. Step 2 and step 4 are repeated until count reaches 0. At this time, the DMA controller interprets the CPU to let it know that the transfer is now complete. Now we will see next point. The next point is goals of interrupt handler. The job of interrupt handler is to service the device and stop the device from interpreting. When the interpret handler returns, the CPU resumes the work it was doing before the interrupt occurred. In computer system or in computer system programming, an interrupt handler is also known as interrupt service routine, is a special block of code associated with a specific interrupt condition. Actually, interrupt handler are initiated by hardware interrupts, software interrupts, or instructions, or software exceptions, and are used for implementing device drivers or transitions between protected mode of operation such called as system calls. Actually, the traditional form of interrupt handler is the hardware interrupt handler. Hardware interrupt handler arises from electrical conditions or low-level protocols, which is implemented in digital logic, which is usually dispatched via hard-coded table of interrupt vectors asynchronously to the normal execution stream, often using a separate stack and automatically entering into a different condition or execution for the duration of the interrupt handler execution. Generally, hardware interrupts and their handler are used to handle high priority conditions that require the interruption of the current code processor is executing. Then we can see here the next point, high level interrupts. A bus prioritize a device interrupt as a bus interrupt level. The bus interrupt level is then mapped to a processor interrupt level. So the bus interrupt level that maps to a CPU interrupt priority above the scheduler priority level is called as high level interrupt. The high level interrupt handlers are restricted to calling the following DDI interface. The DDI interface are: a bus interrupt level by itself does not determine whether a device interrupts at high level. A particular bus interrupt level can map to a high level interrupt on one platform, but map to an ordinary interrupt on another platform. So here the device driver is not required to support devices that have high level interrupts. However, the driver is required to check interrupt level. If the interrupt priority is greater than or equal to highest system priority, the interrupt handler runs in high level interrupt context. So in this case, the device drivers can fail to attach, or the device driver can use two level schema to handle interrupts for Now we can see legacy interrupts. The only information that the system has about a device interrupts is the priority level of the bus interrupt and the interrupt request number. An example of priority level for a bus interrupt is the IPL on S bus in a SPARC machine. The example of interrupt request number is the IRQ on an ISA bus in an 8086 machine. Actually, when an interrupt handler is registered, the system adds the handler to a list of potential interrupt handler for each IPL or IRQ. When these are the name of the buses, when the interrupt occurs, the system must determine which device actually caused the interrupt among all the devices that are associated with a given IPL or IRQ. The system calls all the interrupt handler for the designated IPL or IRQ until one handler claims in the interrupt. The next point is standard and extended message signaled interrupts. Both standard and extended message signaled interrupts are implemented in an band messages. A message signaled interrupt is posted as a write with an address and value that are specified by the software. Now we can see here the software interrupts. The Solaris DDI DKI supports software interrupts, is also known as soft interrupts. Soft interrupts are initiated by software rather than by a hardware device. Handlers for these interrupts must also be added to and removed from the system. Soft interrupts handlers run in interrupt context and therefore can be used to do many of the tasks that belongs to an interrupt handler. Actually, hardware interrupt handler must perform their task quickly because the handlers must have to suspend other system activity while doing these things. This requirement is particularly true for high-level interrupt handlers which operates at priority levels greater than the priority level of the system scheduler. The high-level interrupt handler must the operations of all other or all lower priority interrupts, including the interrupt operation of system lock. The interrupt handler must avoid involvement in activities that might cause it to sleep, such as acquiring a mutex. If the handler sleeps, then the system might hangs because the clock is masked and incapable of scheduling the sleeping thread. For this reason, high-level interrupt handler normally perform a minimum amount of work at high priority level and delegate other tasks to software interrupts which runs below the priority level of the high level interrupt handler, because software interrupt handler run below the priority level of the system scheduler. Software interrupt handler can do the work that the high level interrupt handler was incapable of doing. Then we can see the next point. The next point is device driver. In computing, a device driver is a computer program that operates or controls a particular type of device that is attached to a computer. A device or driver provides a software interface to hardware devices, enabling operating system and other computer programs to access hardware functions without needing to know precise details about the hardware being used. Actually, a device or driver communicate with the device through the computer bus or the communication subsystem to which the hardware connects. When a calling a program invokes routine in the driver, actually the driver issue command to the device. Once the device sends data back to the driver may invoke or it will call routine in the original calling program. Drivers are hardware dependent and operating system specific, so usually provide the interrupt handling requested for any necessary asynchronous time depending hardware interface. Then we can see the next point. The next point will be what devices need drivers. Now we can see here what devices need which drivers. Hardware devices that are known by the operating system or have features that are known by the operating system all require drivers. Now here the list of hardware devices and peripherals that are require drivers. The next point is secondary storage structure. Today's operating systems have a lot of generic drivers that allow hardware to work at basic level without needing driver or software. If that device has features unknown to operating system, it will not work without a driver. For example, you could plug any keyboard into a computer and expect it to work. If that keyboard has any special buttons or features, they will not work until the drivers are installed. Now we can see secondary storage are those devices whose memory is not volatile, meaning that stored data will be intact even if the system is turned off. Here are a few things wrong. Nothing about secondary storage. Now we can see the next point. The next point is magnetic disk structure. In modern computers, most of the secondary storage in the form of magnetic disk. Since knowing the structure of magnetic disk is necessary to understand how the data in the disk is accessed by the computer. Now we can see here in the figure the structure of magnetic disk. Now here one magnetic disk is there and which contains number of platters. And the platter is placed in between the spindle, and the platter contains the tracks, and the tracks also contains the sectors, different sectors, and read and write head is attached to this particular arm, assembly arm. Now we can see here the working of this magnetic disk. A magnetic disk contains several platters. Each platter is divided into circular shaped tracks. The length of the track near the center is less than the length of the track is further from the center. Each track is further divided into number of sectors, which is called as sectors. Now see in the figure, this track is divided into number of sectors. Track of the same distance from center from the cylinder, a read-write head is used. Now we can see here read-write head is attached to this particular arm assembly. A read-write head is used to read data from a sector of the magnetic disk. The speed of the disk is measured as two parts. The first one is the transfer rate, and the second one is the random access time. Then we can see here the transfer rate. This is the rate at which the data moves from disk to the computer, which is called as transfer rate. Now we can see here a random access time. This time, it is the sum of the seek time and rotationally latency, which is called as random access time. Now seek time is the time which taken by the arm of move to the required track. Rotationally latency is defined as the time taken by the arm to reach the required sector in the track. Even though the disk is arranged as sectors and tracks physically, the data is logically arranged and addressed as an array of blocks of fixed size. The size of block can be 125 or 1025 bytes. Each logical block is mapped with a sector. The size of sector, now given here, the size of sector is 512 bytes or 1024 bytes, mapped with sector on the disk sequentially. In this way, each sector in the disk will have a logical address. Now here we can see the next point is that disk scheduling algorithm. Actually, disk scheduling algorithm on a typical multi-programming system, there will usually be multiple disk access requests at any point of time. So these requests must be scheduled to achieve good efficiency. Disk scheduling is similar to process scheduling. Some of the disk scheduling algorithms are described below or listed here. The first one is first come first serve. As we know that first come first serve service. In this algorithm, perform request in some order asked by the system. Let's take an example where the queue has the following request with cylinder number is as follows. In the given queue, the first queue will be empty. The first number is entered here. The first number is 98. Afterwards, second number will be entered. The second number is 183. Afterwards, third number will be entered here, 37. The next number will be entered 122. The next number will be 14. The next number will be 124, and next number is 65, and the last one is a 67. Means that in this queue 98 is entered here first. As per the rule of first in first out manner, first we draw the line and write all the numbers which is entered here. The first number is 0, starting from 0, then 14, then 37, then 56, then 65, then 67, then 98, 122, 124, 183, 190, 199. Now here the actually head is placed in the cylinder 56, means basically, or the first time the cylinder is placed at 56 number, then we can move this head or cylinder to the next value. The next value is, or the first value is 98, because 98 is entered in the queue first. So first come first serve basis, first will execute 98, means that this initially at cylinder 56, head is initially at the 56, then the head moves in the given order in the queue. The first value is that 98, means that, now see in the figure, head is moved from 56 to 98. Then we can see here one red dot is there. Afterwards we can see second number. The second number is 183. So this cylinder moves from 98 to 183. The next number is 37. This cylinder moves from 183 to to 37. We can see here in the red dots. Likewise, all the cylinder moves from first come first serve basis. The next algorithm is that shortest seek time first algorithm. Here the position which is closest to the current head position is chosen first. Consider the previous example where this queue looks like. We are taken here the same example which is given in the first come first serve basis. The first number is 98, then enter 183, then 37, then 122, then 14, 124, 65, 67. Now see in the figure, first we can write all the numbers in a single line. Actually, head is placed in the number 56 cylinder. Our algorithm is that the position is closest. Now see in the figure, the position is closest to the current head position. Now the current head position is that cylinder 56. So then we can select the next cylinder. Which one is the closest of 56? 65 is the closest of 56. So initially cylinder 56 head is placed at this position. Then head is moved from 56 to 65. Then which one is the closest of 65? 67 is the closest of 65. So here head is moved from 65 to 67. Next one, which one is the closest of 67? 37 is the closest of 67. So here head is moved from cylinder 67 to cylinder 37. Then which one is the closest of 37 cylinder? 14 is the closest cylinder of 37. So here head is moved from cylinder 37 to cylinder 14. Likewise, head is moved from closest path or the closest one choose first. Thank you.